Hello, friends. Welcome once again to Double Hit, to Katawa Shoujo, and to my heart, there was almost no emphasis on the H in that word. But perhaps that is for the best. Perhaps that H is for the soul deep within all of us to bring into reality. In the previous episode, we were walking with RIN into the wooded areas behind the school, and it was there that we came across the great and mighty worry tree. We discussed many things: the meaning of life, the price of a bag of Cheetos at our local 7-Eleven, the fact that I don't have a 7-Eleven anywhere near me. I don't even think we have them in my state. If we do, I've never seen them. After we finished this, we returned to the school to meet a god in human form. His name was Kenji. He told us a great many things, not the least of which was some sort of secret code to something. I wasn't really paying attention. All I remember is it was Honey Muffin. Like you, my Honey Muffin. It saddens me that we must communicate in this way. A one-sided conversation through video, where you do not see my face. Actually, that does not pain me. That actually is probably for the best. I'm severely unattractive. Anyway, and I mean, it's not very one-sided because there's a comment I have wasted 4 minutes of your time telling you what you probably watched not long ago. I'm so fucking sorry. Hey, hi, ho, and howdy, everybody. Katawa Shoujo, episode 35. I'm sorry. Oh, God. Thus the languid days of mid-June passed by. See, the problem was I opened this up, and I saw that, and I'm like, that's like, thus the languid days of mid-June passed by. Thus the languid days of mid-June passed by. It's been a little while since I've broken out that voice. You ain't checked out the Let's Dub Fate extra over on the Let's Dub channel. I'm in it. You hear that voice, that's me. I want you to know that was all. Anyway, moving on. I mail my letter to and receive no reply. Having decided to ditch the old me, I start observing my fellow students even closer than I did before, hoping to understand how other people cope with their own issues. I start saying things I didn't before, and it makes me wonder if I've been wrong twice. Superficially, everyone is abnormal, yet so strikingly normal, that it just shocked me at first. I admire the way my new schoolmates turn my prejudices around just like that, simply by being themselves. Now that I've gotten used to it, I begin noticing other kinds of tones in the people surrounding me every day. This is soft, numb, sad. There is this I can see the effort everyone's gone just to make it through the day and how it weighs on their shoulders, like it weighs on mine. Even the brightest smile is just slightly subdued. Every outburst of annoyance just slightly dampened. It's subtle, but it's definitely there. I try to think what it means, what I can learn from others. I wonder if deep down everyone is as lost as I am. Is there even one person here who has truly found peace? I started to feel kind of doubtful about myself once again. I can't decide whether these people are happy, unhappy, or if they've just learned to cope and now live with that unfeeling limbo like I did all spring. I escape from these feelings in the towering piles of books I carry to my room from Yuko's sanctuary. After realizing that this will just shut me out even more, I start going to the art club's room more often, usually whenever I can. RIN too seems to spend more time in there than her own classroom. I've often seen her totter towards the door at the very end of our corridor. That wooden door in the room behind it, smelling of paint and paper, seemed to mean more to her than the rest of the world combined. She says she has a very special permission to use that room, which I don't doubt at all. I don't think Nomiya would deny RIN anything. He seems to dote on her like an uncle upon a favorite niece. The object of his affection, however, has no favorites. She says she appreciates the teacher a lot for going the extra mile for her sake, but even when she says that, her expression is the same as always. It's as if she was talking about a particularly unremarkable rock that she saw the other day. I can't really figure out their relationship. RIN doesn't seem to let anyone close. I don't even think Emmy could say she's crossed that gap that seems to separate RIN from the rest of the world. I don't understand it. She seems so indifferent, yet so passionate at the same time. Somewhere, the school bell rings the last call of the day. I realize that I've been zoning out for who knows how long. Dazed, I sit up straighter, trying to look as inconspicuous as possible. The pungent smells of linseed oil and turpentine mix into my nostrils as I draw a deep breath. I feel drowsy and lightheaded. It's already this late and a few club members left early, so it's just me, RIN, and the teacher. The other two girls who are about to leave. RIN is sitting to my right, slowly working on a painting while I'm idling the time away. I don't think she realizes I've been watching her this whole time. It's from my experience that most people know when you're staring at them. It's led to some awkward moments. It wasn't on purpose. I'm sorry. With a nimble move of her delicate ankle, she dips the brush into crimson paint and presses it more lightly onto the canvas. God damn it! A stain spread. It was so much easier when I was talking like this. A stain spreads around as if the brush was bleeding. Her progress has slowed down to a crawl. By now, I've learned that this is dangerous for her technique, as the paint must not be allowed to dry before she's finished. It occurs to me that I'm literally watching paint dry, and yet somehow I'm not feeling bored, despite spacing out just now. Most of the time, the art club is very relaxed and freeform, apart from times when Nomiya gets really excited about some technique or style he wants to teach us about. Everyone is free to pursue their own interests. Lacking one, I keep floating around without a direction. Also, can we talk about that's the way I like an art class. I love to just do something. Just do it. Just make something. Do it. I don't care what it is. Make it and do it. That's my kind of class. Lacking one, I keep floating around without a direction. I try this and that, but nothing really leaves me with a deeper impression, not to mention that I don't seem to have a special knack for anything. Well, I did get praised for my attempt at watercolors, so I felt pretty good about that. Myself, but that's it. I suppose it's to be expected. I joined the art club mostly on a whim, after all. I'm thinking that I should maybe quit the club, if it's gonna be this pointless. But there's nothing really wrong with pointlessness, and I can't exactly say I'm unhappy. Unsatisfied maybe, but I've only gotten myself to blame for that. As the pair of girls exit the club room with a cheerful "bye-bye," Nomiya stands up from his desk. His chair scoots back with a loud screech that breaks the harmony of the quiet afternoon. He taps a pile of papers in his hands twice and against the tabletop in order to straighten them, then stretches his back.
I have a faculty meeting to attend, so I can't stay. I'll have to do some paperwork later, so if you want to stay, we can talk then. Sorry about this.
There are two people here, but he's really talking to only one of us. Nomiya spends extra hours of his time mentoring RIN after official club hours are over, and I'll bet he likes to discuss his plan of getting RIN's art into the gallery a little more. It's alright. Well, I think I'll probably be here, but it's not a big deal if I'm not. I don't really have much going right now. RIN answers without moving her eyes from her work in progress. The tone of her voice is neither the polite kind expected when talking to a teacher, nor her usual monotone. Well, I'm sorry, I just did the monotone. Don't you fucking judge me. How was I supposed to know?
So I won't need to send a search party if you aren't here?
Yes. No thanks. I don't like to party. We can talk later.
Good girl.
Smiling, the teacher picks up the rest of the papers and makes his way to the door. I glance at the clock above it and then at my watch to double check. They're 3 minutes apart, but nevertheless the club's meeting time is over now. RIN seems intent on staying here to work on her piece while waiting for the teacher. I can't quite imagine what their one-on-one time would be like. Would they actually discuss anything? Rin is always so subdued in what she says, and when she actually does say something, it's difficult to understand what she's talking about. Maybe Namiya just talks endlessly like he does at club meetings, letting Rin absorb what she will from his infinite well of art knowledge, like a sunflower turning to face the glowing sun. Do you mind if I stay? I thought maybe I'd give watercolors another try. I blurted out the excuse sort of accidentally, embarrassing myself. Rin doesn't take her eyes off the painting. Okay. I shift around in my chair and then get to fetching a cup of water, brushes, colors, and some paper. The sound of my footsteps invade the still afternoon air. Before starting, I try to recall what the teacher told us, an important philosophy of the medium. Working with watercolors means more working with water than working with color. I try to keep that in mind and dip my tiny stable brush into the water cup. I'm mixing yellow and blue, trying to capture the sunlit treetops outside of the window. The sun is low, so the yellows are more pronounced and everything looks darker. I still can't quite connect what I see with what my hand does with the paints, but it's a passable attempt for my level. After a while, I start losing my focus and move the paper aside, deciding to watch Rin work for a while instead. The little while stretches first into a long while and then into a really long while. Rin paints, her entire being fully concentrated on the brush between her slender toes, and the painting coming to life one stroke at a time. She seems determined and yet at the same time relaxed, effortlessly moving the brush around, never hesitating. Colors meet and part and mix and cover each other on the canvas, bending to her quiet will. I don't know anything about composition, structure, or any of that kind of stuff, but I really like Rin's paintings. I like how she looks when she paints. As usual, the silence between us compels me to speak rather than merely wait for her to open up. She might end up saying nothing at all. Do you mind if we talk? I don't mind. I kind of wanted to ask you why you get so weird about this thing the teacher wants to arrange for you. Rin picks up the tube of paint and squeezes it between her toes on a palette almost as easily as someone with opposable thumbs would. Taking up a brush again, she replies. A lot of things. And some not things. Unthings. I don't think that's a word. Do you want to talk about it? I try to reach out to her clumsily, ignoring the embarrassing feeling of awkwardness. Rin keeps her focus on the painting, spreading more and more paint in the canvas, her lips forming a perfectly straight line as she concentrates on the job. Not really. Talking is hard. I mean, it's not hard. I'm talking even now, but saying the right things is really hard for me. No matter what, I just can't say the things I want. That sounds kind of weird. It's true. I say all kinds of things that I don't mean all the time. And sometimes I forget words, and then I use the wrong words. I even come up with new words for things that already have some. That's the worst thing. I get really nervous and everything comes out a mess, and even I don't really understand what I want to say. I think there's something wrong with me that makes me like this. Remember when I said I can only think of 4 things at the same time? I nod wordlessly. It's not really 4. I mean, it is 4, but everything else is also kinda in the background. Like being at an amusement park and a beehive at the same time, but that's not the point. I used to do better, like 6 or 7 things. I think so, at least. I feel like I'm becoming dumber. I think everyone has times when they feel like they can't say the right things. But it's there all the time. Stronger and deeper. Yeah, deeper's a good word. I like that word. Deeper. It's that feeling of being underwater. Maybe it's just art. The more I paint, the more words I forget. Maybe at some point I'll forget how to speak completely. It feels like I'm slowly forgetting everything. Do you remember what you thought about 3 or 4 years ago? I don't. A long pause ensues, during which time seems to bend around itself, almost tying itself into a knot. I don't think I've ever heard Rin talk this earnestly or for so long about anything before. It's like I'm fading away from the world. Rin's foot has stopped its work on the canvas and she's staring at her painting, unmoving, as if gazing at some faraway horizon. Sunlight briefly glints in the corner of her onyx eyes. Something floats up to the top layer of Rin's being and she lets out a long breath. Then she blinks and it's gone. Paintings stay behind. When I look at my old things, I remember what I was thinking back when I made them. They make me feel like I can be with all the past me's that was a different me. I guess they're just proof of my existence. She uses the exact same words Namiya used when he spoke to us about the nature of art. I didn't think Rin was paying any attention back then. I wonder if she was listening or whether she'd heard the same passionate speech from Namiya before. Either way, I feel kind of overwhelmed. Boy, you are complicated. I would have taken to writing a diary. Her eyes quickly flicker to my direction and then back to the painting, but she doesn't pick up the brush anymore. That's a great idea. Why didn't I ever think of that? You're being sarcastic? What's sarcasm? I don't call her on the joke, if it is one. Right at that moment, Namiya returns from his meeting. He waves to us a very melodramatic hello, mildly surprised to see me here along with his pet student. Walking with a boisterous gait to his desk, he drops his papers upon it. He picks up a handkerchief and cleans his glasses with incredibly meticulous care before walking over to us. Before he's within earshot of us, Rin says something to me in a quick, quiet voice. Change is the scariest thing in the world to me. And I seriously don't know if I can change into a person who could do the thing the teacher wants me to. I don't know if I could, even if I wanted to. Well, this conversation's real as shit.
Hello again.
Hello. Hello.
What's going on?
He smiles a bit sheepishly, looking at the both of us with uninhibited interest. Nothing. We were just talking about that thing with your acquaintance in the gallery for Rin's works. Sorta.
Oh, any decisions?
I look at Rin, who's trying to arrange the bothered expression onto her face into something else. Anyway, I don't think I have much else to say other than that you should go for it. I think you'd be super popular. I mean, your paintings are really amazing. And you paint with your feet. That's really cool, too. I bet people would be amazed. It's really not that big a deal. I would paint with my hands if I had any. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it like that. Rin turns away, looking at her painting wistfully. I want to take back what I said if that was what made her make that face. I get it. Rin looks absent-mindedly at me, not saying anything. I can't even tell if my words had any effect on her. I just don't get it. Anyone else would be jumping up and down in excitement. Did you hear what she just said? Fool! Okay, so this is the thing, and a lot of people feel this way, from my understanding, is I do really like Rin's route. I really like Rin as a character. I like the characters that are around him. Some are cool, some aren't. So there's things to like about it, for sure. But sometimes, some of the shit that Hasao says and does in this fucking route is just like, boy, you've done so well in all the others. Usually speaking. There's some where you just fuck all the way up. But just like, sometimes, bruh, I don't get it. What's the point of doing your best, being at this art club if you don't do anything with your talent? Some people just don't fucking want it. I'm telling you, I'm gonna be angry with you if you give this up. I would be too, but you gotta understand people. My voice rises higher. I don't know what makes me say this. It's like I've been taken over by some force out of my control, but I really do feel angry. Images of a letter written on cute stationery flash into my mind. Images of the masked faces of my parents, my doctors. Images of the time I've wasted. They mix into my feelings about Rin like a torrent of melted iron. I want to continue, but Rin suddenly stands up. Fine. I'm going. She trots out of the room without anyone saying anything. I stare after her, still seething, though with the voice of rationality back in my head, wondering if I made her angry as well. Teacher lets out an embarrassed but extraordinarily loud laugh.
You care a lot for her, don't you?
Namiya looks over at me over her circular... Over her? What? My dude, I didn't realize you got in the operation yet. Namiya looks at me with over his circular pink glasses, smiling sympathetically.
You made friends with her then, Nakai?
Well, something like that, I guess. Depends on how you look at it. To be honest, I'm not really sure. It's more like me and Rin just tend to hang out around each other irregularly, talking or not about something that more often resembles some twisted mockery of philosophy rather than normal everyday things that friends chat about. Goddamn.
Well, that's good, isn't it? You're a new student, so we should be promoting integration into the student body and such. I can't remember all the buzzwords they spew at faculty and Yamaku Foundation meetings, but that's how it is. Tezuka isn't the most social person around these parts either.
Yeah, I've noticed.
So, she's talked about my suggestion to you.
Oh, no, not really. I think it's been more me pressing her to decide on something. Maybe I shouldn't have.
No, I'm sure it's fine. I'm too soft with her even when I shouldn't. I don't really know how to handle Tezuka. She's so independent and willful. I wonder if this is what every old geezer of an art teacher who gets his hands on a young fiery prodigy felt like.
He chuckles ironically to himself a little bit, turning to face Rin's latest work, which she left drying on the easel. She departed so abruptly that I wonder if she even considers it finally finished.
So, let's see the painting then.
He leans in closer, peering at the canvas.
It draws you in, doesn't it?
Namiya stands back straight, his face a dreamy, nostalgic visage. I don't answer him, as he seems to be taking my agreement as a given. Oh, my back and my stomach, everything is in pain right now. Okay, I sometimes stay here after hours just to look at Tezuka's paintings. Nope, shit, what?
I sometimes stay here after hours just to look at Tezuka's paint. I'm sorry, I've Benjamin Button's disease. You'll see me as an infant in the next few weeks. She's really just prodigious, and at such a young age, she gets shivers just thinking about what she could become with a few more years of refinement. You asked me what makes an artist, remember? This is it. They take a piece of the world and reshape it in their own image. Metaphorically, of course. Looking at her makes you wonder what the world looks like through her eyes. It's a wonderful thing to be young and full of passion. The most extraordinary time of our life. You could do well to remember that, Nakai.
Yeah, sure. Sir, yeah, sure. Yes, sir, sure. Whoa, woohoo! Yeah! Yes, sir! Woo!
Okay. So silly. People always ask artists, where do you get your ideas? As if ideas were something sold at the market for pocket change. You can't explain inspiration. For people like Tezuka, it's like breathing. It's an instinct. I've met maybe one or two with the same kind of raw potential. But no amount of potential will amount to anything if one doesn't work to realize it. It's practice, technique, and skill. Drawing for an hour every day, or for a few years, or even the most hopeless case, becomes a passable artist. Tezuka is not brilliant because she was born with a natural talent for this thing. She's brilliant because she works harder than anyone, ever since she learned to hold a pen, most likely. And all of it with her feet, no less. Absolutely phenomenal.
Silence finally lands in the club room as Namiya lets himself get drawn back into Rin's painting, gently murmuring acceptance toward the still wet canvas. What kind of things do you paint yourself? As if walking from a reverie, he looks at me surprised at my talking to him.
Oh, I don't, not anymore. I became an art teacher only after my career in that field came to an end. Now I just pass on knowledge to the next generation.
That way, the way Namiya answers is curious, both giving and withholding information. I feel like asking more, but he cuts in before I get the chance.
Now, you should run along, my boy. It's almost dinner time, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Have a good evening.
You too.
I love that band. I don't really care all that. I quickly collect my stuff and step out into the deserted hallway, leaving the teacher alone with his musings. This weekend will be here soon. It's amazing how fast time flies here. I'd promised Emmy I'd join her for the celebration of her triumph at the track meet last week. That should be plenty of fun. Turns out they have the genitalias that you were not expecting when you went down to the underground. You know what I'm saying, like that? And it's like, what the... Do you stick with him? I've questioned this myself, what I would do. I don't know, it's a weird thing to think about. At least now, finally I can be more honest. Shit, it just keeps going.